Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 8 of the anime series, Hibike Euphonium Season 2, and I really felt like this episode was all about the parallels. Not only parallels contained within the episode by itself, but also going back to Season 1, as the three girls in the spotlight in this episode, Kumiko, Mamiko, her sister, and Asuka-senpai, all three of them at one time or another have had to encounter an idea of giving up this passionate pursuit of artistic expression, this music. Every single one of them. Kumiko in the first season, she had reservations as to whether or not she wanted to continue playing the euphonium until her friends sort of gave her support and led her to see just how passionate she was about it. We find out in this episode that what really drew those passions out of her was seeing her elder sister, Mamiko, having played the trombone and really been passionate about it herself, but then being forced by their parents to quit and pursue sort of a more academic career, go to college and all these kinds of things. And the family was free to pay her way as long as she stuck to that agreement. But we see in the fallout in this episode that her father is all but ready to cut her off. Because she wants to drop out, she wants to become a beautician, she wants to hearken back to a level of creativity, this artistic expression, and if music cannot be that thing, she's looking to find, the satisfaction to her soul elsewhere. Very similarly with Asuka-senpai, where it's her own mother who is also trying to, force upon her a quitting of this artistic pursuit. Even though in Asuka's case, the time is much more a shorter span, she doesn't have very much longer to go before attaining her own natural swan song in the band. There's that whole scene in the closet where Asuka-senpai is grabbing Kumiko by the lips and telling her to shut up or she'll sew her mouth shut. And it's a direct parallel to an encounter she had with her sister around the time that she was having to be forcibly giving up playing the trombone, which she wouldn't account for. She wouldn't explain. She just said, no reason in particular am I giving this up. And we already see the burgeoning altercation beginning there so early on because Kumiko, being the younger sibling, I think the parents, at least the mother, not necessarily the father, were a little more forgiving with her, where they failed to let their eldest child see her passions through to fruition. They figured, let's do it a little differently. They kind of learned their lessons, I think, in dealing with Kumiko, letting her go after, while she's in school, this passionate, artistic expression. And I just found that absolutely compelling because, of course, when they have their own altercation, this fallout toward the end of the episode when Kumiko has gone home with a cold, which I thought was an interesting twist of fate in the fact that I myself have a cold. As of the time of this recording, I got it from my sister a little earlier in the week, and now I'm watching an episode with Kumiko also having a cold while having a cold myself. Talk about irony. But the whole idea of the sister coming in when Reina has come by to see how she's doing and bring her pudding and snacks from her friends and a Euphonium CD that she already had, but would boost her, confidence and feeling better and everything to hear it play out. And the sister Mamiko comes in and doesn't want any part of it, And I think this really put Kumiko on a level of shaky ground. The uncertainty underneath her feet about her own passions for seeking this artistic pursuit, I think, are being called into question because Kumiko is probably under the misinterpretation that if her sister had given this up so easily, even as much as she's, claiming she had such a passion for it, well, could she have really had a passion for it to begin with? And I think there's also a level of feeling, let down because she really has been in pursuit of this, inspired by her sister. She always wanted to play instruments with her sister, play music with her sister. And so this is something she will never see come to fruition. She was just acting under the assumption that her sister gave it up because she fell out of love with it. And can she really believe if her sister is now, talking about dropping out of school and changing up her whole entire life, risking a fallout with the family and everything like that, disownment and all these kinds of things? Was she ever really passionate about it to begin with? And if she was, or wasn't, what does that spell out for my own passions for it? I find this all highly intriguing and compelling. And that's one of the best aspects of this particular series. They never hit you over the head with any kind of melodrama. It's all handled very realistically, very relatably. And these characters, their qualms, even the goofy aspects, like Asuka wanting to have Kumiko over, to teach her math and everything like that. The oddity of that, I mean, it's very enticing to me as a viewer, because I want to learn more about Asuka to begin with, and to go into her homestead and everything like that, which seems to be such an oddity for Kumiko. I mean, she's asking her friend, she's walking home, have you ever been there? Has anybody ever seen it? What's it like? And she has a very sort of discomforting idea of this. It's kind of hilarious, but I also have to wonder, when they were referencing that, Euphonium CD, they made a mention of saying, and the music sounds very similar to the playing style of Asuka, and I had to wonder if maybe we would find out, this is a relative of hers, a grandfather, father, something along those lines, and maybe that would spell out her own passions for this, why she seeks it so in depth and so passionately to want to play this music and see it out, to attaining the goal, see it out to this swan song that would be a natural sort of way to end it all. And I thought it was very intriguing that Taki-sensei basically puts the final nail in the coffin. If she's not back in the next week, well, we're going to switch her out. We're going to have somebody take her part. And that kind of sets Kumiko into a level of unease, which I think is only then exacerbated that much more by the idea of questioning, what is my sister's motivation? This was the person who inspired me to seek music, to seek artistic expression to begin with, which I had my own qualms about. I had my own reservations about, again, calling back to season 1. And finally, Kumiko came to the revelation, no, this is something that I'm desperately passionate about. I never want to give up. And she has gotten so many good things out of it, not just speaking of attaining gold and things of that sort, but the friendships, the camaraderie, the support, and all these kinds of things. I mean, it's tantamount to what is going on, the dilemma that is going on between she and her sister. And I can only kind of hope that, we will be able to see Asuka fulfill that idea of being involved in going to nationals and going for the gold. And I can only hope that we see something similar between Kumiko and Mamiko, in the idea that, if not in a band framework, that they'll be able to play together by themselves, or at least that Mamiko will show a more expressive interest and support in her sister. Because I think there was a lot of, sort of a level of jealousy where the younger sibling gets to sort of go on in her stead, something she never got to accomplish for herself and see to fruition for herself. Something she was so passionate toward and had to lose. And here Kumiko is sort of being, given the reins to her own life, whereas they were taken from Mamiko. So, I mean, there was so much going on in this episode that I just thoroughly enjoyed, and really has me intrigued to see the next step, to see Kumiko eventually going and checking out, Asuka's abode and see how off the wall that's going to be. Again, learn more about her, and just hopefully we'll see some kind of burgeoning coming back together, sort of strengthening of the relationship between Kumiko and her sister. Hopefully they'll be able to see eye to eye and realize what really matters here, the sense of being sisters. I like that we kind of left it off with a sort of hopeful essence of Mamiko coming in and saying, do you have any CDs of your playing? I'd like to hear it. And so, yeah, it was another brilliant episode in this series. Love it to pieces. And so, yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.